Welcome to Techcanvass. In this video, we will discuss about vendor assessment. As per BABOK guide, vendor assessment assesses the ability of a vendor to meet commitments regarding the delivery and the consistent provision of a product or service. Please note, vendor assessment can be for evaluation of performance of existing vendor, or it can be for engaging a new vendor. In today's world of economy, a business outsources the expertise for its critical operations to third party, be it supply chain, consultant, relationship management, customer management, account management, store management, outsourcing for few other areas. A vendor assessment is conducted to ensure that the vendor is reliable and that the product and service meet the organization's expectations and requirements. Vendor assessment can be of two types, formal and informal. Formal through the submission of a request for information, that is called RFI. Next is request for quote, that is RFQ. Request for tender, that is RFT, or request for proposal, RFP in short. It may also be very informal through words of mouth and recommendations. The standards of the organization, the complexity of the initiative, and the criticality of the solution may influence the level of formality in which vendors are assessed. Elements. BABOK Guide points out few elements of vendor assessment. Knowledge and expertise. The foremost reason for using third-party vendors is that they can provide knowledge and expertise not available within the organization. Licensing and pricing models. Many outsourced parties provide solutions that offer similar functionality but may differ greatly in their licensing models. Vendor market position. It is important to be able to compare each vendor with the competitors and decide with which market players the organization wants to get involved. Terms and conditions. It refers to the continuity and integrity of the provided products and services. The organization calculates the risk involved in the aspects of vendors' licensing terms, intellectual property rights, and technology infrastructure. What challenges can occur if the organization later chooses to transition to another supplier? Protecting the organization's confidential data is also considered here. Vendor experience, reputation, and stability. Vendors' experience with other customers may provide valuable information on how likely it is that they will be able to meet their contractual and or non-contractual obligations. Vendor profile. Vendor assessment is a critical process where one needs to keep a track on vendor profile. The profile consists of procurement, account payables, contract, legal contract system, contact, facilities being provided, other engagements of the vendor. A typical vendor assessment flow is like: analyze the business requirements, vendor search, request for proposal, in short it is called RFP, and request for quotation, that is called RFQ, proposal evaluation, and vendor selection, contract negotiation and strategies, analyze and zero down the vendor. There can be few elements clubbed together or dropped as required, per organization. Let us take an example where an organization is looking to outsource implementation and maintenance of a software for the clinical system. Let us say this software should be able to maintain database for the medical equipment, medical drugs, their storage, and pharmacy vendors. At this stage, the requirement is analyzed, clearly defined, and properly documented. List of vendors are selected who are players in the IT market supporting clinical systems. Request for information is sent to these vendors. Once the vendors revert back with their information, the relevant vendors are shortlisted. RFI is helpful to get the information like the strength areas of the vendors, their expertise, their team size, their experience in this area. Vendors are shortlisted based on the criteria of the medical organization. Next, the organization sends out for RFP and RFQ to these shortlisted vendors. The vendors are requested to submit their introduction, their executive summary, their business model, their terms and condition. The vendors will have their own assumptions and constraints, which they will like to get clarified from the organization. The vendors are shortlisted and selected based on the previous analysis. The contract negotiation happens for the selected vendors. The vendors might come up with chargeable hidden expenses, something like whether the cost of the third party, if used, should be borne by the organization or by the vendor, or they can come up with the different unforeseen risks as well. It is very important for team to analyze these risks right now. Based upon the expertise level of the organization and the budget, the assessment team chooses the best suited vendor from the shortlisted vendor list. Let us see the pros and cons of this process. Price. When keeping the budget in mind, it's really helpful in listing down the vendor pool. But what may be appealing in terms of money can be a strategy of the vendors to attract the client later. The vendor may come up with hidden strategies to make up for the loss vendors had earlier. The team has to be extra cautious here. Expertise. It is always good to zero down on a vendor who offers expertise on many products or services. But organizations should really consider expertise and service level. There may be a chance that the vendor is expert in only few areas, however declaring themselves to have expertise in many. It is wise to keep surveying the market for the expertise versus service levels to check on the value versus money. Service levels. Definitely the organization will get what they are looking for. However, there might be chances of differing prices demanded for the same kind of requirement, but maybe with different timelines by different vendors. The organization need to realize that time is money. The key to vendor assessment is time is money. The vendor may be offering many expertise at a low budget, but still may not be suitable for the organization if it does not meet the service level agreement. I hope this video has helped you to understand vendor assessment process. For any query or feedback, please do contact us at info@techcanvass.com. Thank you.